Hey everyone. Again, shitty intro, so we're just gonna go right into it. Uh, got another comic call from McKay's. Me and my buddy Wig went to help my girlfriend move some stuff, and then on our way back, we stopped at McKay's to try to get some comics. Even though he said he didn't have any comic money, he did in fact end up having comic money. But we're gonna start off with the Mighty Thor number 344. It's part of Walt Simonson's run. Really excited to start reading it, but this is the first appearance of Malekith from the shittiest Thor movie, Thor: The Dark World. Love and Thunder's a pretty close second and the worst one, and then Ragnarok is the best MCU movie. You can't change my mind. But this one was only, let's see, 90 cents. It's about a $10 book in high grade. It's probably mid grade, but still a cool find. And then next, we've got more of Jason Aaron's Thor run. Mighty Thor number 704 with the Mangog on it. Or Mangrog. I'm not really sure how you pronounce his name. He's a pretty cool villain. He is just always overcome with hate of Asgardians because of what Odin did a long time ago. Because Odin's a piece of work sometimes. But got this one for 90 cents. I got all the Jason Aaron Thors you're about to see for 90 cents. Speaking of, there's Odin. See Jane Foster's reflection in there. I'm pretty sure I'm getting close to being able to read this. I think number 2 is the one that's worth so much. But either way, getting closer and closer. Looks like Jane is kind of mad at Odin for whatever reason. Next, we have number 17. Pretty cool cover. Leading Asgard into battle, it looks like. I don't know against who, but gotta read it to find out. After that, we got the New Warriors annual number 3 for 50 cents. I think that's Blackheart. I'm not sure. It doesn't look like him on the cover, but when you look at the inside, it does kind of look like him. There's a lot of superheroes in this one, like a lot of different people in this book, and the artwork on the inside looked incredible. I'm kind of piecing together the New Warriors loosely when I can find issues here and there, and I can find issues for really cheap at McKay's, but I usually don't get them because there's so many, which sounds ridiculous, but I don't know, it kind of scares me out of buying them. But anytime I see an annual, for some reason, I'm drawn to getting all the annuals because they seem harder to find. So, got that. You got Darkhawk, Archangel, Dagger, Speedball. My buddy doesn't know who Speedball is, and I showed him a difference between him and Penance, his edgier version, a little later. And then Thor. I don't know which volume this is, but it's from the Donny Cates run, number 6. Donny Cates is a pretty cool writer. I would describe him as the Michael Bay of comic books because everything's just really explosive, and nothing's too deep in a Donny Cates book. Apparently, I'm getting word that it's volume 6, but he doesn't do anything too in depth or crazy or deep, but they're always fun. They're always a spectacle. He did a Venom run that's really renowned that I pieced together here and there. I got the first appearance in Null, but these Thors you can find for pretty cheap. I got this one for 75 cents. And I love his costume. That costume is actually a skin in Marvel Rivals, which is Overwatch, but with Marvel characters. And it's a really fun game. We're excited for it to release in December when it comes out. And then next, we got Warlock and the Infinity Watch, number 9. I think Galactus and Thanos might be doing, I won't even say that. Galactus and Thanos on the cover, holding up Gamora. And it's actually the origin of Gamora, which is pretty interesting. Not a really high dollar book, but when you get it for 25 cents, you got to grab it. And I've become more and more interested in these because of the My Marvelous Year podcast. And since looking at the artwork on the inside, it's been, it looks so cool. Like, the artwork on the inside is incredible. I don't know, Jim Starlin does the artwork as well, but I know he writes it, or maybe it's the other way around. But either way, I've never been too interested in Adam Warlock, but since getting these, I've become very interested to get Adam Warlock comics. And along with that, I got number 19 with some, well, not everyone looks very 90s. The Thing looks 90s, and whoever's in the red behind the bad guy looks very 90s as well. There's no practical use for that kind of armor. And I have no idea who the villain is. He's got a demon on his dick and the letter P on his chest. So who knows what his deal's about. He's got the little Namor wings coming off his ears. Very strange. And Speedball looks like a crackhead right here. Don't know how to feel about that. Next, most of this haul is DC stuff, and it felt like blasphemy getting so many DC comics this time, but I'd recently went to McKay's and went through all their Marvel stuff and didn't really get the chance to look at the indie or the DC stuff, so I figured that I would just spend most of my time in those two areas. But I got All New Adam number 21 for 25 cents. I have a random issue of this from when I was a kid, and it was written by Rick Remender later on, because it switches writers to Rick Remender at the tail end of this series. And I just remember really liking it, like really being drawn to it. And this was the only Remender written issue they had. They had others, but I'm more interested to see, since I liked the issue so much when I was a kid that he wrote, I wanted to see what else he wrote. And Adam is like Ant-Man for DC. I actually don't know which one came first. He's interesting, I guess. I know a lot of people. I don't know if he's super popular. He's part of the Justice League, if I remember correctly. So, I mean, he has to be kind of cool to be on the Justice League, I guess. We got that, and then I found more Azrael's. And his shitty costume yet again, number 52. You could just yank his scalp off if you wanted to. Not much in the way of taking him down when he has this costume. But there's a rumble in Gotham. It looks like it. I'm not sure who the villain is whatsoever. It might be the guy from the Arkham series who is absolutely he's just insane. That's his whole deal. He has a mark on his body for each person he's killed. I can't remember his name for the life of me, but that might be him. Got number 52. Number 63. And then most of these were 50 cents. But this one was 25 cents because it didn't have a bag and board with it. But he's with the Huntress. And it looks like he got a haircut, which is the slightest improvement possible, but it is an improvement. Then next, we've got 73. I really like this cover a lot, actually. Very unique. It looks kind of like the Blade Volume 2 covers, but it's more dynamic. It's got a lot. I mean, I don't know what's happening, but I like the different grids and just the random shit going on in this. The art on the cover is also really cool. And then got number 79. Poor bus driver's getting held hostage, and he's apparently making him drive off the edge of a cliff. We watched Trick or Treat last night, the horror movie, and something very similar happened in that movie. But If you haven't seen Trick or Treat, it's pretty fucked up. It's very good, though. Just a fun Halloween movie. Then next, we got Batman Volume 2, number 34. Written by Scott Snyder, which I'm a fan of Scott Snyder, but I've not really read any of his Batman stuff. I have number 1 through 13 from when I was a kid, and I don't know if I ever read them. But he did Absolute Batman, which was just an absolute banger. It is such a good series. All the Absolute stuff's been fantastic, but he also writes, like I said, Absolute Batman. And now I kind of want to go back and piece these together for cheap. This one was 50 cents. And the next one, I was actually really excited to find this because I think this villain looks very interesting. He kind of seems like Slender Man with a flower stapled to his face. But his name's Mr. Bloom. And this is his first appearance. I really want to know more about him. It's weird. I thought he would show up at the beginning of the run, but he's clearly way later on issue 43. I got this. This is the only comic I paid over $1 for in this whole haul. It was $1.50. And I'm sure he'll show up in some Batman property at some point soon. But he looks so cool. On the inside, he can like stretch out his fingernails. I'm not really sure what his whole deal is, but really cool to find that. Then we got Batman number 44. Pretty basic cover. I feel like most Batman covers probably look like that. And this one is the origin of Mr. Bloom. So maybe I could just read these 2 issues and get to know Mr. Bloom more, but I don't want to spoil anything from earlier in the run for myself. Just the only part about collecting single issues that's really shitty is that you have to collect, or you have to hope that you find the filler issues before you can read on. And I refuse to buy a trade paperback. You know, man up and get some single issues. And then we got Green Lantern Volume 5, number 14. Written by Jeff Johns. As a kid, I loved Volume 4 written by Jeff Johns. And I've seen them for cheap before, but on the CLZ app that I use, I haven't listed which issues I have and didn't have. So it really sucked always seeing these issues and then not being able to know if I had them or not. But I did that, and now I can safely piece together everything that I need. But we got issue 14. Green Lantern, I don't know which Green Lantern that is, but he's pissed off the Justice League. And then we got number 15. It's a cool cat tattoo that he has right there, but it's really shitty slime green. Not a good color for a tattoo like that. But Green Lantern's getting arrested. I feel like he could kill every cop there, but he's a Green Lantern. He'd be more like a Red Lantern, I guess, if he was going to kill cops. And then we've got number 16. Maybe he did kill the cops, and that's why he's out. The first 2 issues, by the way, were 90 or 75 cents, and these next 2 are 90 cents. But I know this doesn't take place during Blackest Night, but it kind of looks like it. It's part of New 52. I'm pretty sure Blackest Night happened before the New 52. And I like this Green Lantern's costume design. It's really cool. The full face, like the covered face, and just the way the green's laid out on the black. And the tattoos, I guess if it glows when he's in his Green Lantern form, that's pretty cool, but either way, pretty cool. And then number 19. When every corpse is shattered, fear burns brightest. That's the main reason why I like Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run, is because it introduces all these different colored lanterns besides the green and yellow, and I think pink was already in there too. But like the red lanterns, the orange lanterns, the blue lanterns, I think the indigo lanterns. Such a cool concept, very visually pleasing, and a lot of cool characters came out of it, like Atrocitus and Larfleeze. But I'm really excited to finally start reading these, even if it means reading more DC. And then next we got Green Lantern Corps, or Corps, number 12. Another one that I collected as a kid. Wasn't sure which issues I had. And now that I know, I'll piece them together when I find them. These were 50 cents a piece. Guy Gardner walking in on a murder. Guy Gardner eventually becomes a Red Lantern, I'm pretty sure. So I'm interested to see how that happens. And I'm glad they got rid of his shitty bowl haircut, even though I feel like he's known for having that haircut. But he seems to be, I don't know really, but he seems to be like the hot-tempered Green Lantern of the really popular ones that have come to prominence. And then we've got number 14, which was, this one was actually 75 cents. But Sinestro looking so evil in this cover. Sinestro's a really cool villain. Clearly like a mirror to Adolf Hitler in a lot of ways. Just his design and how he acts and uses fear against others. But pretty cool cover. The Yellow Lanterns have always been interesting. And then number 30. I've seen this girl in a lot of the other Green Lantern covers. I have no idea who she is, but she's clearly important to the rest of the series. And it looks like the Sapphire or the Pink Lanterns are all mad at the Green Lanterns. Who would have thought? And then this pissed me off because I was so excited to find Green Lantern Rebirth number 1 for like 75 cents. And I didn't see that it was a $1 comic version, so it wasn't the actual Green Lantern Rebirth number 1. It's kind of like a reprint. Still a really cool cover. I've always liked Hal Jordan. I find him to be pretty interesting. He's a dick, but still a cool character. Really like that cover, honestly. Even if it's a reprint. And then, speaking of cool covers, probably the coolest one in the whole bunch. Jurassic League number 4. With a dinosaur Green Lantern doing a haymaker. That might not be what a haymaker is, but he's about to fuck up that other dinosaur. Which, if you don't know, it pretty much explains itself, but it's Jesus Christ. It's the Justice League if they were dinosaurs. And I'm pretty sure the art is by Daniel Warren Johnson on the cover, but the artist is Juan Gideon, who we met at Dragon Con actually. And he was a really nice guy. I told him that I liked his artwork and how it wasn't exactly, but it reminded me of Daniel Warren Johnson's artwork, and he didn't seem too happy about that, but maybe I just read it wrong. But for how cheap, I almost got these when it came out because I thought Daniel Warren Johnson was doing the artwork, but this was 90 cents. So, cheapest way I could have possibly gotten this comic. Maybe I'll find others and get them for cheap too. And I already had this issue, so that sucks. But Multiversity, Pax Americana number 1. these are all in like one-shots, and it's very weird trying to categorize these because on the side there you'll see that this is the 4th issue of Multiversity, but on CLZ or Key Collector they list them all as like their own separate issue number 1s. And I've heard really good things about them. Maybe, I think they're all individual. You can read them separately. So I need to do that. I need to read one and see how much I like it. But this one has art by Frank Quietly, who's just amazing. He did an Inhumans run. He did the art for a really cool Something is Killing the Children cover, and he did the art for, I'm trying to think of it. He just recently did Seven Sons, which I didn't get all of, but his art's just... Oh, he did Batman and Robin, which was one of my favorite DC books as a kid. Had the first appearance of Mr. Pig in there, who's a psychopath who dresses like a pig and does surgery on people. And then next we got Ragman, Cry of the Dead, number 3. I don't know what it is about Ragman that makes me like him so much. I'm pretty sure that he can steal people's souls and put them, like each bit of fabric that's on him, or each patch, is someone's soul, and the fabric will change depending on like which one's covered up by another piece once he steals another soul. But really interesting character. He's part of Gotham. You can find these every once in a while for really cheap. I had the chance of getting number 1, which is first appearance, for $20, and I didn't do it at the time. Now I wish I did. But this one was 50 cents. And then we got number 4 for 50 cents too. Looks like the demon on there. Again, I mean, the demon has lashes. Has beautiful lashes in this cover, so it might not be him. But who knows? And number 5, with a lot of really creepy faces on the cover. A lot of really creepy ones. Got a clown right there. There's people with giant heads on this. I thought those were cutouts, but no, they're attached to people. Really interesting art choice. Oh, it's a Joe Kubert cover. That's interesting. And you know what? The next comic is not Joe Kubert. I read it wrong. So ignore that. But we're going to the indie stuff with Astro City, number 3. I like this clown guy's design. I've seen him on other covers. I have a few of them, and like I have issue number 2, so now I have issue number 3. But I have no idea what this is about. It just seems cool. It ran for a while, and I see that it keeps coming back every so often. So I'm curious to see if it's worth getting. It seems like a Project Superpowers where I ignore it for so long and then I pick it up and start reading it and then really love it. So hopefully that's the case. Got that for 20 cents. So really cheap, not even a quarter. And then we got Big Man Plans, number 1. Anything Eric Powell gets or does the art for or writes, I try to pick it up if it's really cheap. This one was 75 cents. Eric Powell has like a very cool, it's like how you remember spooky stuff looking as a kid. That's just how I see it. I love his art style. And usually I won't pick up a book if it says his name on it but doesn't have his art on the inside if it's a different artist. But I opened it up, and sure enough, he did the art for it. So I picked it up. I picked it up just to get more Eric Powell stuff. And next, we got crossover number 4. which I got both of them for 50 cents. It's like not an event, maybe it is an event, but it's an image series where they bounce across and meet other image characters and also meet creators, which you're about to see in a second. And I'm not going to be able to name any of these characters besides one. Madman is right there. And I heard good things about it when it was coming out, but I never really had the full interest in picking it up and reading it. But yeah, I found it for cheap, and I was like, this is my chance to hop on the crossover train. Written by Donnie Cates, I just saw, so that's interesting. And then number 7, this got pick of the week one week for Pop Culture Philosophers, and it's the one where Chip Zdarsky is in the comic himself. If you don't know, Chip Zdarsky is a comic book writer, and he really well known. He's done a lot of big name things. He did a Daredevil run recently that everyone's saying is one of the best runs ever. But I'm hit or miss on his writing, just personally. I know a lot of people really, really love him. He's on Batman right now, if I'm not mistaken. But he's in this issue. I'm pretty sure from what I heard, there's something hunting down creators of comics, and if the creator dies, then the characters in the comic die themselves. So that's really, really cool. If I find more, I'll eventually get to read it. And then last 2 books, I got Savage Dragon number 7. Just more Savage Dragon for me to read, and I did get to read the miniseries, like I said in the last video. I did it that night, and then I read issue 1 and 2 of the ongoing. And it's nothing groundbreaking, but it's fun. I really like it. Eric Larson's writing and art's growing on me. And if I find them for cheap, I'm probably going to get them from here on out. I got this one for 75 cents. We got a wannabe Dr. Doom beating the shit out of Savage Dragon. And then finally, this is not from the haul, but I got the special preview edition signed by maybe Ryan Brown and Charles Soule, just Ryan Brown. But this is by the creators of 8 Billion Genies, and it doesn't come out till January, but our friend went to New York Comic Con, and they were selling these and handing them out. And I told my buddy to tell her that I will do anything if they could get it for me. And they did. And they got it signed too, which is awesome. Super excited to read that. Highly recommend 8 Billion Genies and Curse Words. Anything by that creative team is just awesome. But probably the most excited I've been to read a comic in a little while. We got to be there for the announcement of it at Dragon Con. We got to see a few pages on the interior, but we didn't get to have it in our hands or anything. So, got that. And that'll be it for the video. Like and subscribe, I guess, if you want to. If you want to see more comic hauls. And I'm ordering a camera, so the video should be higher in quality soon. And I'm wanting to expand past comic hauls. Still do them, but try to make different kinds of videos along with it. But that'll do it for today, guys. I'll see ya.